I have seen it with people I know. I have seen people talk about it online. Skinny young men, when they're contemplating bulking, they're scared to bulk because of the side effects. And I'll be honest with you, that has happened with me. It was through 2021. I try and find a picture. I was pretty insecure. It was my first bulk, and I gained a lot of fat, and I wasn't really happy with how I was looking, right? But that's completely natural when bulking. That's normal. Your facial structure changes because you gain a little bit of timber, right? But you're getting stronger and you're putting on more muscle than ever. So that's what you got to remember, okay? But in this video, I just want to reassure you guys why you don't be scared to bulk. Honestly, don't be scared to bulk. It's not as bad as you think. Yes, you're going to put on a little bit of timber. Yes, you're going to put on a tiny bit of fat. Yes, your facial structure, you might have a little bit of a puffy face for like a little bit. But you've got to remember, I'm just going to explain through this video why you need to not be scared to bulk as a skinny young man, okay? And just before we get into this video, I just want to briefly introduce myself to you guys. So, my name is Ryan, and I've undergone a physical and mental transformation over the past 3 years, taking myself from 51 kg looking like this in 2021 to now looking like this in 2024. And I'm on a mission to help skinny young men who struggle to find success in the gym, to help them sculpt their physiques and to help them achieve their dream physiques in the long term. And in order to help myself do this and achieve this goal of mine, I've just launched my very first free online community. I'll leave the link to it down in the description. It's basically a safe haven for skinny young men who struggle in the gym to gain muscle, weight, and to sculpt their physiques, to help them sculpt their physiques. It's a brotherhood of people, of like-minded people who are on the exact same journey as you. So if you're a skinny young man struggling with your gym journey, struggling to put on muscle and thinking you're not making progression, then this is the place for you, and I'm so excited to see you inside. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So first of all, I just want to talk about how bulking is actually where all the character development happens, and it is where the success is found, right? It's where you develop your character. It's where you become the person you want to be. And if you don't want to bulk, and if you're scared to bulk, and if you're not going to bulk, then you're not going to have this character development. And I'm sorry, mate, but you're not going to become the person you want to become. And this is because success is found in the journey and not the destination. And what I mean by this is so many skinny young men, they want to gain muscle and they want to get shredded and they want to look sick on the beach, low body fat, girls everywhere looking at them, right, attractive. But what they don't realise is that you've got to bulk first, mate. You can't get shredded and you can't put on muscle without eating in a caloric surplus and eating more than what your body needs in order to gain more muscle, right? It doesn't work like that, right? You have to bulk. You can't just expect to just put on muscle without eating and feeding your muscles what they need to be fed in order to grow, right? You've got to be able to go through this bulk process, otherwise that won't happen for you. And I just want to use the success is found in the journey and not a destination in a little concept I thought about you for you guys. So in terms of me saying the character development happens in the bulk, that the bulk in this situation is the journey. And I want to use a lottery winner example for this. So lottery winners, right? So often we find that lottery winners, obviously they're lucky fucks, right? But most of the time they end up losing the money and just like their life goes to a pile of shit, right? And this is because they miss out on the journey. They don't become the person that deserves to get to the destination. And they don't become the person that would achieve the destination of winning and earning the amount of money they earn, right? For example, in yeah, so when someone wins the lottery, they just get the money. They don't go on the journey that someone goes on to. For example, they don't go on a journey an entrepreneur goes on to in order to achieve that amount of money and to earn that amount of money. They just get given it. So they miss out on the journey and they miss out on that character development, which would usually get them towards earning that money. So they're the exact same person but they've just skipped the journey and they've arrived at their destination. And winning the lottery is probably the only thing I can think of in life where you can skip the journey and get to the destination. But you're not you're asking for trouble, right? Because as soon as you get to the destination, a lot of the time lottery winners don't actually know what to do with it, right? So they end up losing it all. And it's the exact same as if you were given an absolutely shredded physique, you would have absolutely no idea how to maintain it and no idea how to get bigger, so you'd just lose it, right? So it's all about the bulk, it's all about the journey, it's all about where the character development is truly found that gets you towards where you want to be. And as a skinny young man, if you want to be shredded and if you want to have a beach body physique, you need to go through the character development of bulking, because bulking is the journey, and that in the journey is where the character development and where the success is found, and that is where you become the man that deserves to achieve the shredded physique, right? So you can't be scared to bulk, because that is where the character development happens. And if you don't bulk, you're missing out on this character development. And if you don't bulk, then don't expect to achieve your dream physique, because you truly won't. Okay, and I'm going to get onto that a little bit later in the video. But moving on from that, so first of all, obviously, bulking is where the character development happens, and if you don't bulk, and if you don't get over your stupid little fear of bulking, then you're not going to go under that character development, which is not going to shape you into the person you want to eventually become. Okay, so now moving on to reason number 2 why you shouldn't be scared to bulk, mate. Okay, and that is because it teaches you to be uncomfortable in life. Okay, because obviously when you bulk, you undergo change. As I said, you put on a little bit of timber, your facial structure may change a little bit, and what you've got to realize is change is part of growth. Discomfort is part of growth, and if you stay comfortable, you're never going to reach your full potential. Because let me ask you one question: do you know any millionaire or any successful man in life, or any successful man that's got an amazing physique in their life? Do you think they've stayed comfortable for their whole life and they've just got to that point through staying comfortable? Of course not. They've become uncomfortable. They put themselves through uncomfortable situations, and they're comfortable with becoming uncomfortable, so in the future they can become comfortable, if that makes sense to you guys. Okay, so being uncomfortable, actually, obviously, it shapes you into the person you want to be as well. Obviously, as you don't want to bulk, it's uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable, and because you've never done it, it's obviously change. But you've got to embrace this change, and you've got to embrace becoming uncomfortable, because through those uncomfortable situations and those uncomfortable times and those periods of change, that is where you grow, not just physically but mentally and as a person as well. So it's so important that you realize that bulking actually teaches you to become uncomfortable, which helps you in life, right? Because, for example, if you want to start a business but you're scared to, if you've been through uncomfortable experiences first, then you're going to realize that it's uncomfortable to start a business, and obviously you're not going to want to at the start, but you've got to put yourself through uncomfortable situations in order to become comfortable. So it can help you in different avenues in life as well, and that is so important that obviously you've got to realize that you shouldn't be scared to bulk, because it teaches you to become uncomfortable, which is not just good for yourself in the gym, but in different avenues in your life as well. So that is reason number 2 why you shouldn't be scared to bulk, because it teaches you to become uncomfortable. And another thing, just before we move on, if you can be content with becoming uncomfortable, then that is one of the most powerful things, and that is one of the most powerful gifts anyone has. Okay, so just keep that in mind and just note that down. And one more thing, actually, before I move on. So through becoming uncomfortable, and through being content with becoming uncomfortable, and through becoming comfortable with becoming uncomfortable, you're going to have more confidence in yourself, right? As you embrace this discomfort, as you go through periods of change, and as you go through periods of as I said, discomfort, where you don't necessarily know where that road is going to end, that is going to help you build confidence in the future when you're faced with uncomfortable situations, and when you're faced through periods of change. You're literally gonna run at that discomfort, and you're gonna run into those periods of change, because you're gonna be so confident, because you've been able to go through periods of change and periods of discomfort before in your life. Therefore, when you have to go through them again, you're gonna have those past experiences of, you know what, I've realized that when I become, these periods of discomfort don't last forever, right? You eventually overcome them, because the more uncomfortable you become, the quicker you're going to become comfortable. And you realize that when you put yourself through uncomfortable situations. So you're just going to increase your confidence in the future, right? Now moving on to, sorry, I've got to flick the old page of my book. So now on to reason number 3 why you should be fearless of bulking, and why just don't be scared to bulk. Connecting from my other point just then is that bulking is temporary. It doesn't last forever. It's one piece of the jigsaw, right? It's not the entire thing. You're not going to get fat and fat and fat and fatter, and you may not feel it. And sometimes on a bulk you may feel a little bit shit because you're eating so much food, right? You're not going to feel like that forever, because once you've put on enough timber, and once you've put on enough muscle that you're happy with, and when it gets towards the spring and you want to cut for summer, you're not going to have that anymore. It's literally a temporary phase, and it's literally one piece of the jigsaw, and it's so important that you realise this. As I said, once you put on enough muscle and once you're happy, you can cut down and you can get shredded and you can have that beach body physique you want. But you just got to go through this temporary phase of bulking before you literally unlock that, right? Before you unlock that phase in the gym, okay? So it's so important that you also think of the long term when bulking. Because bulking is temporary, it's literally just a short term. The temporary nature of bulking is a tiny part of your whole gym journey. So you've got to think of the long term success. You've got to think of building yourself up for the long term and building your character and laying the foundation and laying the building blocks which are going to propel you to long-term success in the future. So you've got to think of the long term, and obviously you're going to be putting yourself through initial discomfort, but as I said, if you become content with putting yourself through discomfort in the short term, in the long term you're going to have that dream physique and you're going to be the person you want to be in the long term. So it's so important that you realise bulking is temporary and it doesn't last forever. So stop being a fool and just fucking bulk, okay? And by the time this video comes out as well, it's autumn, so I'll be bulking by the time this video comes out. So what's your excuse to not be bulking, okay? Before I end this video, I just want to leave you guys with one question and one thought to sit with, which is going to make you feel uncomfortable, but as I said, becoming content with becoming uncomfortable is going to make you comfortable in the long term. So the rhetorical question I have for you guys, and I want you guys to keep this in your mind for a long time, right? Until the actual time frame ends. So in 10 years, so I want you to be thinking about this when you go through when you're going through tough times for 10 bloody years, okay? So take a mental note or take a physical note of this, okay? So in 10 years, do you want to be sat on your sofa wherever you are, in your apartment or I don't know, wherever, your house, looking down at your body and you're a twig, right? You're still skinny, and that is because 10 years ago you were scared to commit to a little bulk, okay? You absolute fool, okay? If you're sat on your sofa in 10 years time skinny and not having the physique you want, how would that make you feel? However, if you actually said to yourself, fuck you, I'm becoming uncomfortable, I realise that the bulk is temporary, and I realise that the bulk is where the true success is found and where the true personal growth is found, 10 years later, you're going to be sat on your sofa looking at your dream physique, right? What would you prefer, right? What would you prefer, okay? Would you rather live with that regret, or would you rather just take action, and if it doesn't work for you, at least you're not going to live with regret, and you've bloody tried, and the likelihood of you achieving your dream physique in 10 years is going to be very, very high, right? What would you rather, okay? I'll leave that for you guys to think about now going forward for the next 10 years, okay? So that is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I hope I've taught you something today, and I hope you're now going to overcome your stupid little fear of bulking, and you're no longer going to be a fool, and you're going to bulk, okay? So, as I said, if you have enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like, a comment, and a subscription down below, and that'll just help me reach more skinny young men like you, so I can help change more lives just like yours. And it will help the algorithm, and I'll be recommended to you more, so you can learn from me more, right? And if that sounds good to you, that sounds good to me, so that's a win-win, okay? So without further ado, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.